natural gas ETFs. We haven't talked about it in a while, have we? Let's do that today. So we've made some previous videos on trading natural gas ETFs, and then I sort of lost a little bit of interest and started trading some different stocks and sort of forgot about them. I had a few comments from you asking, hey, can we talk more about natural gas ETFs? You know, UGAZ, DGAZ, /NG, UNG, the natural gas fund. So I figured it's Friday. I didn't really take any trades today. So let's dive into that today. Let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Jimmy, and this is my channel, Taking Trades, where we talk all things day trading. So if you're a new trader or an aspiring trader or even someone with a decent amount of experience, you might find some value in this channel, as I like to trade any type of stock, and also I dabble in ETFs, primarily natural gas. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, hit that subscribe button. Hang out with us for a while. So it's the end of the week, and I wanted to go ahead and open up some charts and just dive into UNG, /NG, DGAZ, UGAZ, all the usual players, and maybe see if we can get an idea for a bias, long or short, going into Monday. That's something I want to start doing with you guys, is breaking down stocks here and there and giving you my ideas on which direction we might be headed the next trading day. So if you feel like you might like to have a bias going into next week, go ahead and hang out. I'm going to go ahead and show you the 2 or 3 things that I like to look for to determine what the bias might be, and we'll go from there. Let's jump in. Come on, let's do it. Here you'll notice I've got /NG, which is the natural gas futures, and I've got the 15-minute chart up right now. So I wanted to go ahead and just talk about what I'm looking at when I break things down. I mentioned in the intro that I had 2 or 3 things that I like to look for, so I just want to kind of break that down a little bit. What I'm seeing right now, if we go back here into March, you'll see that /NG pulled up, tapped this little high point right here, rolled down, and then broke this line where you had a couple of hits. Broke to the downside without really any pullback, just sort of went rocketing down. And came down here, touched this, had a nice pullback, and then came back down to challenge that area. But you know, if you looked on a higher time frame, this action down here would look like just a tail. Because I'm on the 15-minute chart right now, you're seeing a few candles, but it gets snapped right back up. So really, this is the low point right here, right at the bottom of this wick. So it taps and comes back. Now what I like to look for, so here's number 1, key number 1 that I watch, the break of this line. So we had this tap, tap, break, and go. So that breakdown, this line is telling me that when we're below this line, that I should be sort of thinking or having a bias for the sell side. And now if I want to be on the sell side, that means I would be looking at the ETF for DGAZ to purchase, because you can only take long positions on the 2 ETFs that we'll be talking about, UGAZ and DGAZ. So that's number 1. Number 2 is up here where it peaked. So it peaked here, peaked there, and then broke. Wherever it broke this line, I backtrack to the last sort of high. Where this action or this move began from is right here. So from this zone, or this point to this point, this zone right here is sort of a warning zone. It means, yes, you should still be considering a sell, but be cautious, because it could be looking at a reversal to go back to a long bias. So you can see as we sold off down, we touched this line, pulled back, so that's our current low, and really that's not quite accurate. Let me move that, because our low was first set right there. That was our low. It pulled back, then when it came down, it tapped a couple times, and this push down and pull back real quick, that's just a probe. If you went to the hour time frame, this action right here would just be a tail. So this is actually holding right here. So there's the bounce off We come back up, we're traveling. Some people are thinking, oh, maybe we're going long, but not really because we're still below the line where we had the breakdown. Now it crosses back above, and you can see now we're between the line and this circle where everything kind of began. And this is that warning zone I was talking about. You can take a sell in this position on another fund. Obviously on this you can't do that because you can't short ETFs. So you could take a long on DGAZ in this position, betting that we'd go down, but it's a little more risky because we're in the zone. So as it comes back below, you can see it's now safely tucked back underneath this line, which is saying we're now thinking short bias, which says to buy DGAZ because DGAZ is the inverse ETF of UGAZ, which is the bullish ETF. So as it tracks around, you can see all this action's happening and not breaking our line. Then we come down and we get a challenge to set a new lower low, which is bearish, which would tell us, go ahead, look at buying DGAZ. So it challenges it, pulls back up one more time, and then breaks down. So because it broke down and held below and now it's traveling down, what would be your guess in terms of what our bias is right now? Short, right? More DGAZ buying. So what I do is now this setup is no longer valid because we just had a breakdown through here. So this break through this line, we're not paying attention to this anymore, or this. So we could actually remove those right now. And we're moving on to this line being broke. So it broke down and it's sustaining below. So we know it's not just a lower tail because it didn't bounce right back up and continue. It's staying below that line. So if we come back to where that action began, it's right here. So now we've got this bubble or this circle and this line. Here's our neutral zone, sort of our be careful zone. You can take a DGAZ trade in here, but you want to be careful because we might be heading up, which would indicate that you'd want to take UGAZ, which is the bullish ETF for the futures market here. So as we drop below and hold, we're now pushing down really strong. So we got a nice strong push down, and here's our new low. So now we're just going to be watching things to see what happens. If this pops back up, and this is just a quick dip and up, then this will be our low, and this is just a probe or a tail on a larger time frame. So we would draw our line. We would eventually move it right down here. So that would be our current low, but right now we're going to go ahead and just leave that alone. We got the break down below. Let's check this again. So we got our break down below. We're staying below, and we're just going to kind of watch that. So right now, /NG, my bias going into Monday is going to be short bias, meaning we're looking to buy DGAZ. So I'm just going to flip over to DGAZ real quick just to take a peek. And so you can apply that same principle of looking for the pushing up, sustaining above. So in this case, right off the bat, I can kind of see here that, let me grab the right tool. So you can see we had this high right here, this pullback, a quick pop up and below. So this is our high right here that we're watching. And it started actually from way down here because this is sort of just trickling up. So, boy, we broke that line there and it held above. Let's grab this, and I'm just going to say that sort of this area in general is sort of where that action began from before the jump up. So we got the breach, we came up. This is not breaking out, it's staying below, and then it pops and breaks this line and is now sustaining above. So we're going to move this here because this high eventually got broken and we're above now. We breached to higher, And this is where the move sort of began. We had this pullback and then explosion up. So that's where we began. So here's our neutral zone in this area. So you can kind of think about, let me draw a rectangle to make that a little clearer. So the neutral zone, or the zone to be careful in moving forward, is going to be sort of right there. From the break line to where it started, this zone, you just want to be careful in. So as long as the price action is maintaining and showing a move above this line, if it pulls back, touches it, and then we go higher, that's a good buying opportunity there. So take this with a grain of salt. Just use it as information moving forward. Obviously don't trade based on my opinion. I'm just giving you strictly my opinion. But this is kind of how I break down natural gas right now, with using /NG to get a starting point, and then flipping over to ETF that I'm biased towards, which is DGAZ. And then you can start to look for pullbacks and things to possibly jump in. So on Monday, I would watch for this to retrace down closer to this line, and if we get a good reaction, I might even be interested in taking a peek at it to take a long position on it if we get back down in this area, and then we get a sort of a reversal off of that, sort of a pullback and then a move to go higher. So this is the 15-minute time frame, and typically I would go ahead and flip over to the 3-minute time frame to make some more of those decisions. So in here, I'd watch the 3-minute time frame on Monday to get a more granular look at what each of the candles are doing on the 3-minute chart, to try to get a good entry off of this line. So we'll watch that. It's still open, so we'll kind of watch it throughout the rest of the day today, and then take a peek and see what it's doing on Monday early morning, and go from there, and maybe possibly pick up a position on DGAZ on Monday. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I think this is kind of a great thing to kind of break down some stocks. I like that it's Friday into the week. We can plan for the upcoming week. I can talk to you a little bit about how I pick stocks, how I watch their bias. And so these were my three tips for choosing a bias and getting set up for Monday on /NG and on natural gas ETFs. Number one was I watched from where did the move start? Where did the move start from? Number two, I look at, did we break the current low level? So we broke down below this. So we had a low, some action, and then a breakdown. That breakdown combined with this gives us our zone to be careful in, our neutral zone. If we're below the zone, then we can stay short bias, which would indicate that we need to go look at DGAZ. And then number three, for how I work on this, is I flip to a smaller time frame. In my case, I like the 3-minute chart, and I use that to get a more granular look for taking the actual entry, which would be on Monday, looking to take a little skip off of the breach line in order to take it to the long side. So if I flip back to DGAZ, so this is what I'd be looking at on Monday, is neutral zone. I'm not going to take any trades in there. If it goes below that, then we'll start talking about UGAZ, but we want to stay above it for DGAZ. So if we get that pullback down, a little skip off the line and moving north, it might be a good entry for me personally on DGAZ. So hope that helped. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope the trading week went well. Hope you're green today. If you find value in this, if you are a new trader or a trader with some experience and you want to get bias information and see my trades on a daily basis, I do try to upload every day. If I don't trade during the day, I try to do a video like this. And if that seems of interest to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like today's video, give me that thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And I love feedback and all the comments, so feel free to do that as well. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.